Andrew McCart, iFLTV, delighted as always to be joined by Kevin Lerena. Kev, I said to you there that selfishly, I can't wait for you to step up at heavyweight because you're always
One second, please, brother. 1 second.
yes,
He's putting this broom in the video. Sorry, my little boy. He's throwing the broom.
that's okay.
Go stand that side. Shuki. Okay. 1 second. Sorry.
It's okay, bro.
Okay, let's start again.
Start again. Start. I seen the broom. I didn't know what it was. Good
Don't
stuff.
hit me with the broom.
At least he's tidying up. That's the good thing. I'll start again, Kev. Let's go.
Good, good.
Andrew McCart, IFLTV, delighted as always to be joined by Kevin Lerena. Kevin, first and foremost, brother, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Andrew. Obviously, always good to speak to you. The last time we had a good chat was, I think, in Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, another fight, another exciting heavyweight matchup. I'm raring to go.
And listen, I said as well before I pushed record there, Kevin, that selfishly, I enjoy watching your fights at heavyweight. I mean, albeit there were good fights against Dubois and Lorena, action packed and the likes and knockdowns and what we like to see. Um, Selfishly, I can't wait for you though. When obviously the WBC Bridgerweight title, you became a world champion down there. And was there always this sort of feeling that you were going to step back into that heavyweight division after the Justice Huni fight?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, having won the WBC interim Bridgerweight title in 23, then fighting Justice Huni in what was a very close fight on
Mhm.
very difficult
Yep.
circumstances for me. But I always knew that I was going to come back up to heavyweight, but I had to take care of business at Bridgerweight. And I did what I had to do with the opponent that was put in front of me
Mhm.
5 weeks ago. I got a good knockout victory. And it was almost a good prep going into this fight. But I've always had my eyes on getting back into the heavyweight division under title contention yet again and getting and rearing for the biggest fights. I'm all in it for big fights and to give the fans what they deserve, and that's an exciting matchup. And I think it's fair to say that I don't think I have ever been in a boring matchup, and I think you can attest to that as well.
Mhm. And I can attest to that. Like I said, you're always in fun fights. Now, Lawrence Okolie, I mean, I don't want to say it, but it's been said that he doesn't have the most fan-friendly style. He's long, he's rangy, he's got a nice jab, he's got a long right hand. How do you, the Kevin Lerena that's always in fun fights, how do you negate that? How do you get inside his jab to make it a fight that's more suited to yourself?
Yeah, I think listen, Lawrence is a great boxer. He's
Mhm.
got a long jab, a long back, a long right hand, and I suppose you could call it a conventional type of fighter in the sense of what he does, it's predictable, but it's also not because he's a very big man and is an awkward fighter. And I've
Mhm.
known and watched Lawrence for a very long time. Ever since cruiserweight, we were meant to fight one another. If I'm not mistaken, when he was I think it's the WBO world champion,
Mhm.
or WBA, one of the two organizations. We were meant to fight one another. And I've been watching Lawrence since then. In fact, we became buddies along the way. And like I said, this is nothing personal, but it's another opportunity. And it's a good crossroads fight in a sense of Lawrence is, you know, won the Bridgerweight title against Rosinski, did what he needed to do against a guy like that. I did what I needed to do against Rodchenko. He's had one fight at heavyweight. He did what he needed to do against the opponent he was given, and he won in great fashion. So it shows that he's taking that power up to heavyweight. He's trying to be a lot more authoritative, but he's in there with a different type of animal this time. I don't like to say I'm not like those other fighters, but that's just factual. I'm not. I bring my own type of style, my own type of explosiveness, and something different to worry about being a southpaw fighter. I've heard in interviews Lawrence saying he favors and he fancies southpaws, while I fancy guys with a long right hand. That's my game.
Mhm.
So for me, it's a great matchup. It's a crossroads matchup. We're both going for something we both want. He wants a heavyweight shot at something, a number one spot or whatever it is. I want another shot at heavyweight, whether it's heavyweight gold or the big names at heavyweight. So we're kind of in each other's way. And kudos to Lawrence for taking the fight. I don't think he probably needed to fight me, but he wants to fight me, and respect to him for wanting to fight me and putting on good matchups. And thanks to Queensbury and Spencer Brown for
Mhm.
making the fight happen, Frank Warren, George Warren, because this is essentially what I've wanted. I've always wanted to be in the biggest, best fights on the biggest cards, and that's where we are right now.
You mentioned his fight at heavyweight there. That was less than a round. Obviously, that was his
Yeah.
first fight at heavyweight. You probably can't read too much into that. But he was, I think, if I remember correctly, he was 260 pounds for his first fight at heavyweight. Do you
Yeah.
expect Lawrence to be as big as that coming in against somebody like yourself, who's lighter as a heavyweight, but does carry that speed of hand?
Um, yeah, I think so. He's a big man. I think
Mm,
he's naturally a big man. I think what Lawrence is probably about 6'5", six foot
yep.
six. So 260, but it's about 116, 117 kilograms. I think it's a big man. I don't think it's too big for him. Having said that, it's a lot of weight to carry up, but let's see how he handles it. Obviously, it's factual, the physiology and the physics side of it. There's more weight behind his punches, but let's see how he moves. He's got to move to fight me. I'm an explosive fighter. I do find my way in. You're not just going to keep me at the end of your jab. I do find my way in, and when I find my way in, I find my way in with good timed left hands, right hands, whatever it is, whatever I find, and whatever I need to see in there. Um, but I don't think it's going to make a major difference. I've sparred many big men, Tyson Fury, Martin Bakoli, to name a few. So, it doesn't bother me. But I know he's going to be bigger, which would naturally mean he's stronger than he would have been at cruiserweights and bridgerweights. But we're both at our natural weight now. My natural weight's only 104, 105 kilograms, which is what, probably 230, 245
Mhm.
pounds, 235 around there. But that's my natural weight where I'm at my most explosive, at my fittest, at my strongest. So hopefully we see the best Lawrence Okolie and the best Kevin Lerena against one another.
I'm sure we will, Kevin. Now, you spoke about your explosiveness now there. And we've witnessed it. We witnessed it against Daniel Dubois. We've witnessed it against Justice Hooney up at heavyweight. People might think and say, yes, you've got the power to hurt these heavyweights. You just haven't finished them. What do you have to do in your game now to make sure that when you do have Lawrence Okolie hurt, that you go for the finish and you get him out of there?
So in the Justice Hooney fight, I must be honest, I think it came early in round two when I hurt him and
Yep.
rocked him, and then was the end of the round, and then it came late at the end of round, I think it was 10. And maybe more strategic in my finishing me off approach because I tried to throw the kitchen sink at it and I was really spent. I was tired that fight, to be honest and transparent. I got tired.
Mhm.
And I gave it my all. I had nothing left in the sense of no energy, which means no speed, no power, and none of that there. I chinned him on the left hand, which I timed perfectly. I saw it coming, and then when I saw him rocked, I tried to finish him by throwing everything at it. Maybe I should have picked the right punch and just set it up more, gone up, gone down, and hit him over with the left hand. Probably would have folded, but it's all hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. With Daniel, when I had him hurt, I was trying to seek maraud and destroy. Dan was taking a knee due to he's obviously from the hemiparesis shot to the head. He's hurt his knee or ankle, whatever it was. So he's taking a knee. So it was all unfolding so quickly and it was so unexpected. In hindsight, would I have changed things? Yeah, maybe a more calculated finished approach. I want to go for the finish, but it's just about finding the chin and finding it at the right time. Like in my last fight, when I had my opponent hurt, I finished him and I finished him in great fashion. But that opponent wasn't Lawrence Okolie. That opponent wasn't Justice or Daniel Dubois. There's levels, and I'm aware. I'm very knowledgeable in the sport and I'm aware of those levels. So let's see how it goes. I do know that when I have someone hurt, I need to finish them. And it's not to say I don't have that killer instinct because I do.
Mhm.
That's what I do. I'm in the sport to win. Inside the ring, there's no friends. Outside the ring, can be a nice guy, and that's who I am. That's my personality. When I got a man hurt, I taste blood, I go for it. But I think a more calculated approach would be needed from me, especially against a very dangerous fighter like Lawrence Okolie, who can also hurt you at any given time.
Hmm. Definitely. Now, this is for Lawrence's WBC silver. Obviously, it gets you a good ranking in that organization. Usyk and Dubois fighting for the undisputed title. A lot of people are saying if Usyk wins, then this might be his final fight. He might vacate because he is getting on in years. He's done it all in boxing. What more is there to achieve? Now, I'm trying to just jump ahead of myself. Now, if that does happen, if Usyk does win, the belts become fragment. Um, have you envisioned yourself with a? I know you've got the WC Bridger, but getting a crack at that WBC heavyweight title. How does that sound?
Any of the belts, to be honest,
Hmm.
Andrew. For me, I said I would love to be the first South African or one of. I'm not sure if I would be the first, but I think I might be in terms of the heavier weight divisions to have held a cruiserweight and then obviously a bridgerweight and a heavyweight world title. So I'd love to challenge for a heavyweight world title. That alone, look, I mean, I was actually listening to the Queensberry commentary. I think it was about 2 weeks ago when Fabio, or a week ago, when fought Justice Hooney. And Fabio never had any amateur fights. He came from a white collar background.
Yep.
And I come from the same. I never had any amateur fights. I've just had 35 professional fights on the trot. So I'm still learning myself. I've had any amateur, no white collar, nothing. So for me to do that and to be where I'm at for my country and for myself, I'm very proud. So for me to become and to get a chance to challenge for the heavyweight world title would be absolutely surreal. And it's not just a dream, it's not just motivation, because motivation fades. I put in hard work and discipline to get to where I am. I love the sport. I do what I need to do. I live a clean life. And that's why I believe, if it's destined for me, if it's God's will, it will be done.
Yes, I totally agree with that, Kevin. Now, again, I said a scenario if Usyk wins, that he retires, but if Dubois wins, that rematch is that something is that an itch you want to scratch? Now, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of news articles saying that maybe the stoppage was too soon. Maybe it was a little bit of controversy behind the stoppage from the referee. Now, I know you're an honest man, you're a humble man. You won't go too deep into that. But is that Daniel Dubois rematch? Is that an itch you want to scratch? Is that a fight you want to get back?
Yeah, of course. As a fighting man and as a warrior, you always want to right the wrong or go into it again and then just walk away and say, well, the better man won. I think it's fair to say Daniel has come on a lot since that fight. He
Yep.
has progressed. He obviously lost to Usyk after me. He fought me, then he lost to Usyk in also a controversial fight himself, whether Usyk was down from the body blow or not, or whatever it was, So controversy kind of Dan went from one controversial fight into another. Then he got the victory over Baby Miller and then Hergovich. So he's had two good victories, and then obviously AJ. So he's on a meteoric rise. So if our paths ever do cross again, I always lace them up and go, I'm a fighting man, and I'd love to right the wrong, but I'd need to earn my shot against Daniel. He's leveled up. He's become the RBF world champion. I need to get there. If he had to lose to Usyk and there's crossroad fights again, then most definitely. But if he had to beat Usyk, he's now the man who's beat the men. So you'd have to get in line to fight him. So I'm very aware of how it works. But a rematch would always play on my mind. Having said that, I don't have demons in my head.
Yep.
I'm at peace with what I'm about and what happened that night. And I know where I went wrong. I know where I was also hard done by. But it doesn't bother me at all in the sense of it plays on my mind, what if? There's no such things as what if. If I get the chance to right the wrong, then I get the chance.
Wonderfully said, Kevin. Now, we were speaking about it, and a couple more questions from me before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. We're speaking about the Usyk Dubois fight. Now, I need to get your opinion on it since you are on the card at Wembley and it is in your division. Talk to me about this fight. How do you see it?
It's a 50-50 fight. And you might hear that a lot. People saying it's a 50-50. Well, one's an extremely powerful concussive puncher. He's got a relatively a good jab, and I think he's on his confidence. He's on at an all-time high. And one's a magician in there, probably one of the greatest boxers, technicians of our era. Look, I mean, if Daniel can't hurt Alexander within the first 6 to 8 rounds, I think Usyk wins convincingly. But having said that, I think Daniel will be very dangerous for the first half of the fight. I truly believe that. And not to say Daniel will fade, but I think Usyk becomes harder to fight once he finds his rhythm and his range. Whereas Daniel is very dangerous early on for anybody because he can hit you, he can hurt you, and he's got a very nice authoritative jab. A lot of people have asked me what it was like to fight Daniel. I said, I found he had one of the best jabs I've ever fought. So Usyk needs to take that jab away and utilize that to counterpunch him. But how do I see the fight going? It's truly 50-50. If Alexander beats Daniel, he's beaten him already. So I'm the type of man, I'll be rooting for the upset. You're going to see an upset at Wembley. Kevin Lerena win and a Daniel Dubois win.
Well, listen, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, that would be a nice little double. Kevin, one final one from me. What can the fans expect from you you versus Lawrence Okolie on the 15th of July at Wembley Stadium? What can we expect from yourself?
You can expect fireworks. I'm not coming there to try box a tall, long man, to try outpointing. I'm coming there to seek, maraud, and destroy. When I find the mark and I land the mark and my timing's on, it's going to be explosive. And I've got a man opposite me who I respect highly as a person, as a father, as a fighter, But at the end of the day, this is a crossroad fight, and he's standing opposite me, and he's standing in front of my goals. So I know what I need to do. So I can promise the fans at Wembley, Queensbury, the Zone, Spencer Brown from Gold Star, explosive night, 100%.
Kevin, music to my ears, my friend. Listen, I cannot
Thank you, Andrew.
wait for it. Like I said, love the way you fight. I love the way you approach the game. You're definitely a fan-friendly fighter, and I cannot wait for this one. Kevin, thank you so much for giving me your time this evening, and then I hope you enjoy the rest of it, and I can't wait to see you on the 15th. So good night, God bless,
Thank you,
brother. I'll
Andrew.
speak to you soon.
Cheers, brother. God bless you, man.
Thank you, brother.